Hi guys, welcome to Dimitra's Dishes. So today I'm going to teach you how to make καταΐφι. It's a really popular Greek dessert. It's one of the syrupy desserts, and I'll walk you through what you're going to need. It's just not too many things. So we're going to be making the honey syrup first, and in my pot I have 2 sticks of cinnamon. 2 is always better than 1, especially when it comes to cinnamon. I have some water, and I also have some sugar and honey. I'm going to put the orange peel after I finish walking through the ingredients. Okay, so we need some butter, lots of butter. We need dried clove powder, a tiny bit of salt, ground cinnamon, just a little bit of panko breadcrumbs, a tiny bit of sugar for the filling, and then ground walnuts and ground almonds. That's all you're going to need. And since we're going to be needing the juice and the peel, we're not using zest, we're using the peel. You cannot really get the peel off once you've juiced the orange, right? So when you're making this recipe, get the peel off first by cutting it with a serrated knife all around. You can kind of get it in one strip if you're careful. And I'll do it in 2 strips. Just like that, we're just going to cut the peel all around, and then I'll get the juice. Half of this orange is going to get juiced, and it's going to go inside the syrup, and the other half will go in my filling. And we're going to discard this afterwards. We're just putting it in here for flavor. Start heating that. Let me juice half of this in here. Try to catch any seeds. This orange hardly has any seeds, so that's good. Like this. I'm going to put the rest of it in my filling, like that. And a lot of times when oranges are in season, what my mom used to do, she would, take the peel off and dry it, and then just use it whenever she needed it in recipes. I'm going to rinse my hands, and I'll get back to this. All right, so we're going to make the syrup first because you know the rule. When you're working with syrup, you want cold syrup on the hot pastry. So in this case, or cold syrup on hot cake or whatever, vice versa. You don't want it to be soggy. You just want it to absorb the syrup. So we're going to make the syrup first so that way it can have time to cool down. And while the syrup is being prepared, I'm going to put the butter in here so we can melt it, because the butter is what's going to coat our shredded phyllo dough or καταΐφι dough, and we need it to be melted. It seems like a lot, but this makes a really big batch, and butter makes everything better, so why not? Okay, so we're just going to stir this while it comes to a boil, and I'm talking about the syrup. As soon as it comes to a boil, I'm going to turn it off after it just cooks down, and I make sure that all of my sugar and honey is all melted and incorporated, and I'm going to take it off of the heat and leave it on the side so it can cool down. But in the meantime, I'm going to combine all of my filling ingredients in here: my sugar, my breadcrumbs, my cinnamon and clove powder. I'll put this on the side. And we're just going to mix this all up. Okay, so my butter is melting beautifully, and let me raise the heat under my syrup. Just make sure that when you're making syrup, you're stirring it, because sometimes the sugar and the honey settle on the bottom, and you need to mix it up so that way they don't burn. That's the only real tip that you need to know. Aside from the fact that the other most important tip is καταΐφι dough is sold in the freezer section, right where the phyllo dough is. And if you can't find it in your supermarket, you could probably find it, you'll definitely find it in like a Middle Eastern or Mediterranean grocery store. Get a bunch so that way, if you have to make it, it stays fresh in your freezer for a long time. Defrost it in your refrigerator overnight, and then take it out in the morning if you know you're going to make this that day. Take it out and let it come to room temperature. So it'll take about an hour or 2, and that's going to make handling this very, very easy. If it's going to be cold, it's going to start to fall apart and break, and it's just going to make a mess, and it's going to be really hard to work with. So make sure you pay attention to that tip, and you don't skip that step. It's important. Okay, so all of my filling ingredients are combined. My butter is almost melted, and we're going to move on to the next step as soon as this is all done. All right, so as you can see, the butter has completely melted. And I didn't let it boil or anything like that, okay? I just kept stirring it until I knew it was melted. Before I do anything else with it, I'm just gonna butter my 9 by 13 inch baking dish. Then I'm gonna bake all of this in. And that's ready. We're gonna move on to the next step. All right, so I have my filling ready, my butter, my syrup is all done. I'm gonna open up this pack of καταΐφι dough, and it's a pound of it. And I've defrosted it and I've let it out. I've left it out and it came to room temperature. It was out for like 2-3 hours this morning. And I have 2 towels. I have one that's a little bit damp. These are kitchen towels that are clean, of course. You don't want to use dirty towels, right? And then I have a dry one. And anytime you're working with any kind of phyllo, any kind of dough, and you're not going to use it up all at once, you're going to work with it in sections, you want to make sure to keep it covered because it dries out really quickly. There's, it just dries out. So you want to have a wet towel, a damp towel, not a wet towel, and a dry towel. So this is like rolled up. It looks like yarn, very, very thin yarn. It looks kind of like vermicelli yarn. So we're going to unroll this and we're going to cut it into about 18 little sections. I'll show you how we're going to do that. I'm going to make about 18 sections. And you can make them as small or as big as you want. All right, so I've made my little sections and I'm going to cover them with a dry towel first. Just like that. I have 2 out because I'm going to work with those first. And then my damp towel on top of that to keep everything nice and moist so it doesn't dry out. Get this stuff out of the way. So I have my filling. I have my little assembly line over here. So I have my filling and my melted butter. So I'm going to brush melted butter on this. I'll do it on both of them. Then I'm going to take a spoonful of my filling, put it on the bottom, and I'm just going to take it and roll it up. Just like this. I'm going to roll it up and I'm going to take it and put it in my baking dish. Like that. Show you again. Let me get butter on the edges. And you're going to pour the rest of the butter over the pastry once it's in the baking dish and you're done filling all of these. So you put it on the bottom, you take it and you tightly roll it. Just like that. And don't worry about it if it's not looking really perfect to you. This is going to bake and it's going to stay nice and round and all rolled up. Okay, so I've made all my little bundles of καταΐφι, and there are, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 16. There's 18. There they are. Okay, so I have some filling left. I'm just going to put the filling down here so we don't waste it in between this little area. You don't have to do this. I'm just doing this because I love this filling. You could definitely put it in a little Ziploc bag and save it for the next time you're making it. But this has so much flavor. And I have like more than half of this butter left. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pour it evenly over all of these little καταΐφι pastries. Just like that. My oven is has already preheated actually to 350 degrees. And I'm just going to put this in here uncovered and I'm going to let it bake for 45 minutes to an hour until it's nice and golden on top. And as soon as it comes out of the oven, we're going to pour our cooled syrup over here. Then it's going to absorb and it's going to be so, so delicious. You can't mess this up, you guys. Look at this. It already looks beautiful. I'm going to put it in there and I'll show you what it looks like after 45 minutes to an hour when it comes out. Okay, so I took my καταΐφι out of the oven and it's gotten nice and golden on top and nice and crispy. Hold on. Yusuf, edit out all that coughing, okay? So it's nice and crispy and nice and golden. So I'm just gonna, my syrup has also cooled down and I'm just gonna strain out the orange peel and the cinnamon sticks. And it's thickened a little bit also. And what I'm going to do now So make sure that your syrup is cool, okay? Not hot syrup on hot pastry. Cool, hot, or hot, cool. Or hot, cool. Okay, so I'm gonna pour this on top of here. You hear that sizzling sound? I wish you could smell it. You can smell the cinnamon and the sweetness of it. It smells so good. I feel like it smells like this in Greece. If you go and you sit in one of the pastry shops, you go in and you have some dessert with like a nice cup of coffee. That's therapy right there. And I think I forgot to take out this piece of cinnamon stick right there. That's ready. I'm gonna let it sit. I know I'm impatient, but just, I don't want to burn myself, and it really won't even taste the way it should if it doesn't absorb all the syrup. So you're going to have to leave it alone, and you're going to have to wait, because remember, all good things come to those who wait. That is the words of encouragement for today. And I'll stop there with that, with the words of wisdom. And I'll let you know that you have to make sure that all the syrup has to be absorbed. It's going to take about an hour. I'll sprinkle some more cinnamon on this, because cinnamon is one of my favorite flavors. And you know, in my house, you just can't have enough cinnamon on here. I'm sprinkling some more cinnamon on here because we love cinnamon in my house. It's my cinnamon and vanilla are like my absolute favorite flavors. You can totally skip this step if you like. I'm going to sprinkle just a tiny bit of powdered sugar on this just because I feel like it. Just a little bit. You can leave it out because it's sweet enough. Go on the website, www.dimitrasdishes.com. Get this recipe, and there are lots more recipes. We post new episodes daily, so make sure check out our channel every day. And you know, sharing is caring, guys, so tell everyone you know about us and learn how to cook just one recipe at a time. I'm going to wait till this cools and I have my plate nice and ready. I think I'm going to brew myself a cup of hot tea and enjoy this. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye, everyone. Thanks for stopping by.